Hello and welcome to the new Blender course. My name is Dino and in this course I will show you how to model, rig and animate hand character using Blender. We are going to cover all the basics and beginner steps on how to create a simple character and animation in Blender. Firstly, we will start modeling the character, and for that we will need to use some of the modifiers and also simple meshes. Once we finish modeling the hand, we will add the bone that is peeking out of hand. Once the model is done with all its features, we will then cover the first steps on how you can rig your character and how to attach rig that we will create to the mesh. After we are done with the rigging our model, we will then start animating the process. Firstly, we will set our camera to the scene, which we will then render out, and after that we will animate the impatient movement of the hand by adding keyframes to the dope sheet. After we finish animating our model, it's going to be time for the materials, for which we will use basic materials, and later to see the character in its fullest light we will import HDRI and we will finish the course. At the end we will play around with the final render settings, and at the end you will have amazing animated character done in less than 1 hour. You will be able to animate it further and post it to your social media or share it with your friends. This course is mainly for beginners because we will cover all beginner steps on how to create a fully functional character, but if you are an advanced 3D artist, it can be helpful for a quick exercise. Have fun and enjoy. So let's hop on to the video, guys. See you there. Everybody, and welcome to our first video in this course. So as you can see, currently I'm working with Blender version 2.92, but if you can get any version above this, you should get it, because it's always best to work on the latest version because of the new features and bug fixes as well. So let's go and create a new file, and here you can see our default scene. I'm going to turn on my screencast add-on, so right here in this left corner you will be able to see all the shortcuts that I'm going to use in this course. So here I'm going to go and select our cube, and I will press tab to enter in edit mode, and we are going to use this default cube to create hands from it. So I will press number 1 to go in front orthographic view, and I will press S and Z to scale it on the Z axis, so to about here. Now I will move here, and with Ctrl and R we will be able to add edge loop in the middle, and by scrolling up you will be able to add more and less if you scroll down edge loops on your model. So here I will add 2 edge loops in the middle. I will press right click to cancel any movement of those 2 loops, and if you move to the side you can see those 3 faces, which we can go and extrude them for our fingers. So I'm going to go and select all of these fingers, and here I will hold left click, and I'm going to open this menu under extrude, and here is option which is called extrude individual, which will allow us to extrude all these faces as individual. So here I'm going to go and use this yellow circle, and now you can press Shift and R to repeat the last action, or you can find that option under edit, and there is option repeat last. So here I'm going to go now in X-ray mode, and I will move in top orthographic view by pressing 7, and this time I'm going to use this vertex selection. So here I will go and select this top part, and I will press G and X to move it slightly to the back to about here, so something like this. And here I will go and extrude this for our thumb, so I will press E to extrude, and here I will go and rotate it, so something like this is going to be just fine. So make sure that you're having almost the same size of this face as those here on the top, because we want to maintain the same size of those faces, because we want to have almost the same size for each finger. So now I'm going to go and add subdivision surface with number of subdivision 2. I'll press right click and change shading to smooth, and here you can see that we already made fingers. So I'm going to go and select this face here, and I will go and extrude it 2 times like this. Don't worry, later on we are going to adjust all of this. And now I'm going to go and select, actually I'm going to keep this time face selection. Let's go and turn off X-ray. And now here I'm going to go and delete all these faces here, and I will press X, and here we can go and delete all these faces. Now I'm going to go and select this edge loop here, and here we can go and extrude this on the back side like this. But before that I want to go and select those vertices here, and I want to make them a little bit more rounded like this. And here we can go now select these edge loops by pressing Alt and left click, and I'm going to go and extrude it on the x-axis like this. So next I will go and scale this a little bit down, and I will go and extrude it one more time. And here I want to close this gap, so I can press E to extrude, right click to cancel any movement there, S to scale, E to extrude one more time, right click to cancel movement, S to scale, and here I'm going to press just F to fill that hole there. So now I'm going to go and adjust this a little bit better. So here I will go in X-ray mode, and here let's go and I'm going to go and pull this a little bit to the back. So here we can go and move this, and now I'm going to go and select thumb, and I'm going to go and move this a little bit down. Let's go and also rotate it. I'm going to go and select this, and I will move this a little bit there. So to about here is going to be just fine. I'm going just a little bit like this, and here we can go and select all this, S and X to scale it on the x-axis, and let's go and move this a little bit in the front. So as you can see, we are almost done with modeling our hand, and if you want you can go and increase number of subdivision to make it a little bit more smoother than it is. And now here I'm going to go and select those two, actually here on this bottom side. I'm going to go and select all those two vertices here, and you can press G and X to make this hole for the palm, like this. And now everything should be just fine. So that's it about this video. Stay tuned, because in the next video we are going to add bone that is coming out of this hand. So see you there. Hello everybody, and welcome to our second video in this course. So as you can see here, we are done with modeling our hand, and now we should focus on the bone that is coming out of this hand. So first I will go and press 1 to go in front orthographic view, and with tab I will enter in X-ray in edit mode, and with the X-ray I want to go and pull this slightly up because I want to make this hand a little bit flattened than it was before. And now we can go back out of edit mode and turn off X-ray as well. And now I want to rotate this for the 90 degrees on the x-axis, so I will press RX and 90, and also I will rotate for 90 degrees on the y-axis. So now this is facing toward us. So I will press also G and Z to move this up. And now for the bone I want to add a cube to our scene, and immediately I will go in edit mode, Ctrl and R to add edge loop there. And I want to get rid of this half here, and immediately the next step is going to be adding mirror modifier with mirroring on the x-axis, and don't forget to turn on clipping as well. And the next is going to be adding subdivision, so make sure that you are having mirror modifier on top of your subdivision surface modifier in modifier stack. So let's go and add two subdivisions, and now I'm going to press right click to change shading from flat to smooth. So now I'm going to press G and Z to pull this up. I will go out of X-ray mode here, and let's go and scale this down a little bit more like this. And now we can go in X-ray once again in edit mode, select this top part, and here I'm going to go and extrude this on the Z axis like this. I'm going to switch to normal extrude, and let's go and extrude it one more time on the Z as well. And here I can go and select those two vertices on the side, but because we are in edit mode, in X-ray mode, we can go and select the back as well. And here we can go and extrude it here, and I'm going to extrude it one more time, and here we can go and also go to the side. You can see I'm going to go and add edge loop there. And now I want to go and make this more rounded, so I'm going to use Alt to select those edge loops there, and with twice G I can go and do edge sliding as well. So let's go out of X-ray mode and to see how it's looking, and I'm going to move it a little bit closer there. Now we can go and scale this all on the y-axis like this to make this more rounded there. I'm going to pull this here in the front. And now we can go and adjust this top a little bit better than it is right now. So here I'm going to go once again there, and we can go and scale this up like this. And here maybe we can go and move this slightly down, and now we created this. So the only thing that we can do is we can go and move this slightly in the front like this, and now it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to go and select all this here, scale down, and now it's looking better. So now we are done with modeling our hand. So maybe the only thing is we can go and scale this a little bit here on the x-axis, on the y, and now I like this bone there. So maybe we can go and also scale this a little bit down to make this more round shape there, and now everything should be just fine. So now I'm going to go and apply this mirror modifier here, and now I want to join those two together, because that is in the next video we are going to rig our hand and prepare it for the animation. So first I'm going to go and select both of these, and actually I'm going to lower down number of subdivision here for hand, select both of these, and I want to make this as a one object, so I can press Ctrl and J and join those two together. So now we have only one piece here, and you can see it here. We can go and rename it by pressing twice in the scene collection. So I'm going to rename it as a hand, and now I want to go and return my origin point of this in the middle. So first we will need to return our 3D cursor in the middle of our grid, so we can press Shift and C to return it in the center. And now I can go and select hand, and with the right click I want to change the origin point to be where the 3D cursor is. So right click, set origin and origin to 3D cursor, and now you can see this orange dot, which means that origin point of this hand is going to be there. And the next step that is going to be necessary before we continue with the rigging is by pressing N. You can go under item, and you can see that we have some values here, and I want to make sure that I have all the location, rotation and scale applied. So we can go under object, there is option apply, and we can select all transform, and now everything here is 0 and the scale is number 1. Also you can press Alt and A shortcut, so here you can also apply location, rotation, scale and all transform as well. So that's it about this video. Stay tuned, because in the next video we are going to rig our hand. So see you there. Everybody, and welcome to our third video in this course. So as you can see, we are done with modeling our hand, and there is one adjustment before we continue with the rigging I want to do. So here I will go in and select my hand, go in edit mode and switch to vertex selection with the X-ray on. I'm going to go and select all this and press G and Z to move this slightly down, and with Ctrl and R I want to go and add one more edge loop for each finger, so now they look a little bit more rounded than before. So now for the rigging we are going to use armature, which we can find under Shift and A, and here is armature. Right now we cannot see anything, but if we go under edit mode, which we can press tab once we have selected our armature, there is option in object data properties which is called in front under viewport display. Now if I check this in front option, we can now see our armature here. So no matter where we are now in our scene, we can see our armature, or no matter how if we have mesh or anything else on top, we will always see this in front of other objects on our scene. So now I'm going to go back in edit mode, and here we can see our single armature or single bone here. So basically with this bone here we are going to create the rest of the skeleton here, and later on with that skeleton we will animate our mesh, and it's going to be much easier than moving all these vertices behind the geometry that we created previously. So first I'm going to select this bone here, and with G and Z we can go and move this up. So here every bone has a tail and head, so this is head and this is tail. And now I'm going to go and grab tail here, and with G and Z I'm going to move this like this. So basically this bone I want to control this mesh here, so make sure that you are following along and to try to understand how skeleton is going to behave and how it should be. So now here I'm going to grab tail here and press E, and here you can see that we have single bone here, which means that we are now able to extrude bones from other bones as well. So let's go and press E once again, and now this bone will control this part here, and this bone will control this part here. So I will have a little bit more control on how this backbone of our mesh will behave later on once we want to animate it. So now I'm going to grab this head, and now I will go and press E and make one huge bone here. So basically this bone will control this area here, and now we need bones for fingers as well. So I will go and select this bone here, and with the Shift and D we can go and duplicate it. Now you can see that we have this dot line, which means this is a parent of this bone here, and we don't want that. So I'm going to press right click, and there is option parent, and now here we can just simply clear parent, and now that's disappear. So now we have single bone here, and I'm going to scale it down to mesh the background or our mesh. Let's move this slightly down, and now if we select this bone here, we can press right click, and there is option subdivide on top. And in this menu here we can see that number of cuts is 1, and I want to have 3 bones for each finger. So now we can see that we have 3 bones, and now we can select all of these, and with the Shift and D we can duplicate on the X. So I'm going to lock it down on the X axis. Let's go and repeat it one more time, and now for the thumb I'm going to use the same, but this time I will go and rotate and also scale it down a little bit. So something like this is going to be just fine. And now here there is a new option. Once we select armature, there is option pose mode. So in pose mode we are animating our rig. So here now if I go and for example rotate this, you can see that this bone is controlling also the other ones here, and also this bone here is controlling this one here. This bone will control only this bone here on top, and this bone will control only itself. So basically what I want this bone to control all the other bones as well, and we can do it by parenting all these top bones to this bone here, and we can do it only in edit mode. So I'm going to go back in edit mode, and now I will select all these top bones by holding Shift, and the last bone I want to be sure that I selected this bone here, and with Ctrl and P we can just press keep offset. And now you can see, for example, if you go in pose mode and select this bone here, press R, you can see that this bone is controlling the rest of the bones. So now let's go back in edit mode, and here I will go and pull this slightly up with G and Z like this, and now I'm going to go and move to the side, and here you can see that we can go and move this a little bit in the front. So actually I'm going to keep everything here as it is, maybe a little bit in the front like this, and now I'm going to select all of this, make sure that you are in X-ray mode, and return it slightly back like this. So make sure that you are having your skeleton or your armature inside of your mesh, and now we need to attach the armature to our mesh, and the process is called weight painting. So the easiest way and the simplest way is going to be to do automatic weight paintings, which means the Blender will do automatic weight paintings for us. So we can do it by pressing selecting our hand first, and later on with the Shift we can select our armature, and now with Ctrl and P we can see that we can go and parent this as an object or armature deform, or with empty groups, which means that we will need to do manually weight painting, or we can go and set with automatic weights. And now if I go in pose mode and for example select each for this bone here and press R, you can see that the mesh is following. So now I'm going to go and show you what the weight painting is. So I can go and select my mesh here and go in first I will select my armature actually, and hold Shift to select our mesh, and now we can go in weight painting here, and now in this object data properties you can see that we have these vertex groups, and now you can see that this bone which is called bone, will control this area here. And now if you scroll down, you will be able to see all the other bones and which segments are controlling. So for example, if you want to repair anything, you can go and here F to add this area, or F to subtract. And basically blue means that this so for example, I'm going to select this top bone here. So this is bone name, so this is the name of the bone and it's called bone. And here you can see that red is meaning that this bone is affecting this area the most, and the blue means this bone isn't having any effect on the rest of the mesh here. So basically, if I add something here, this bone will also control this area here. So I'm going to go and press Ctrl and Z to go back, and now we are ready to animate our character. So that's it about this video. Stay tuned, because in the next video we are going to pose our character and also add camera, and later on we will add eyes and continue with animation. So see you there. Everybody, and welcome to our fourth video in this course. So now we are going to continue with the modeling eyes and also mouth and so on. But before that, I want to show you how you can rename your bone. So you can go and select your armature, and in edit mode here is a bone option under this properties menu. And for example, I'm going to go and select this top bone here, and let's go and rename it, for example, head bone. And now if you go out of edit mode in object mode, and for example you select the mesh, and under object data properties there is head bone. So that's the way how you can make your how you can rename your bones. And also I want to mention that once you attach your armature to the mesh will contain another modifier in your modifier stack, and that one is armature modifier. And make sure that you put your armature on top of subdivision, because it's going to be much easier to control the rig later on. And also I want to increase number of subdivision here to 3. So next I'm going to go and add a plane with the Shift and A. So we are going to select plane, let's go and scale it up. And now I'm going to go and press R minus 90, RX minus 90 to rotate it on the x-axis. So just a second, so like this. And now I'm going to pull it up like this, make sure that it's on the floor like this. And now I will press 0 to enter in camera view. And now with the Shift and the key above tab or next to 1, you will be able to enter in fly camera mode. So now you can use your keyboard to fly around. And also, for example, if you want to increase the speed, you can go and scroll up and down. And for example, if you want to move up and down, you can use Q and A. And that's the easiest way how you can navigate with your camera around on your scene. So let's go and position it on the top like this. So I'm going to go and move it on top, so to about here. So this is going to be position of our camera. And now let's go and continue with modeling the eyes. So with the Shift and A, I'm going to go and add a UV sphere. And here I'm going to lower down number of segments to be 16, and here the number of rings I want to lower it down to be 8. And immediately I want to add mirror modifier, because once we enter in edit mode and press G to move it on the side, we will be able to see 2 eyes for our character. Next I want to go and also add subdivision surface modifier with number of subdivision 2, and let's go and change shading to smooth. And now I'm going to go and press I will go back in edit mode. And here I will go and move this up and press RX and 90 to rotate this for the 90 degrees like this. Make sure that you're having mirror modifier on top of your subdivision. Now I'm going to go and zoom in, and here with the face selection, but first I'm going to go actually on the side on the right orthographic view by pressing 3, and with S and Y I will go and scale down on the Y axis. And now I will go and deselect everything, and with the C I will enter in circle selection. And by the way, you can see this circle around your cursor, and that means that's your brush size, which you can increase and decrease by scrolling up and down your mouse wheel. So I will go and select all these vertex faces here in the front like this. And now I will go and only deselect this here and this one here by pressing middle click. So that's the way how you can deselect in Blender with the circle selection. And now I will go and press, actually I will go and deselect all of this around, and now I will select only this here. And now for the pupil of the eyes, I will go and duplicate this with the Shift and D, move it in the front on the Y just a little bit, and here I will press P to separate this from the rest of the mesh. And now we can go and select back our pupils here. So I'm going to go and select it there, and with G and Y we can go and, for example, just extrude it a little bit on the Y axis, so something like this. Now I will go and move this inside like so, and now we have pupils for our character. Now we can go and select all of these, and here I'm going to go and rotate it for 90 degrees like this and place it where they should be. So here I'm going to go in top orthographic view. I'm going to scale this all the way down like this, and here I'm going to hide armature for now and try to place it where they should be. So I will go and scale this just a little bit more. Now I'm going to go and go in front orthographic view, and here we can go and move this slightly inside. Let's go on the other side as well, and here we can go and rotate it on the Y, and with G and Z I can go and move this slightly inside a little bit more. Let's go and pull this a little bit on the Y, and now I'm going to go and move this a little bit also down, and we place our eyes for our character. So we have those cartoonish eyes for our character, and next I'm going to go and make mouthpiece. So with the Shift and A we can go and add curve. So this time I'm going to use circle, and here I'm going to turn off X-ray overlay, and with the G and Z I'm going to pull this circle up. And if you go in edit mode, you can see that we have those 4 points, and there is new option which is curve properties here. And if you go under geometry you will be able to find bevel, and here we will be able to bevel this. And now we can go and, for example, use G and Y, and you can see how easy we can go and create cartoonish looking mouth. So with just simple curve. So I will go and position it where it should be. So I'm going to go and scale this down. You can play with the depth as well. And also I want to go and scale this on the X, and I'm going also to move this slightly inside. So I will press G and Z to rotate it, to lay down on the mesh like this. And for example, here you can now play which kind of emotion you want to have on your character. So for example, here we can go and scale this down and up. So I'm going to go select all of this. Let's go and scale this down. So like this. Let's go and scale this a little bit on the X, and G and Y to make it a little bit sad like this. And I'm going to go and position it a little bit more down, so we can press G and Z. Actually, let's go and go in top orthographic view, and I want to add tooth in between top and bottom lips. So here I will go and move this up with G and Y. Let's move this slightly down. I'm going to go and scale this a little bit and move it here. Let's move this one there. And now with the Shift and A in object mode, I'm going to create a new cube to our scene. Immediately I want to add subdivision surface modifier with number of subdivision 2. Now I will go and scale this down. Right click to change shading from flat to smooth, and here we can go and position it inside. So we can go and scale this down, and here with Control and R we can go and add edge loop there, and here as well. So right click, I'm going to change origin to be in the center of the mass, and here we can go and scale this on the Y, and maybe we can go and add one more edge loop there, G and Z to place it inside. I'm going to move to the side so we can see, so to about here, and we can go and scale it a little bit on the Y, so something like this is going to be just fine. And also I want now to go and add one more plane inside, because I want to paint it black there. So with Shift and A, I'm going to create plane there, and here I will go and scale this down like this. With the G and Z, I will move this up, and here I will go in X-ray mode, and now I can go and just move this down here, and I'm going to go and extrude it there, and also here inside like this. Make sure you hide all of this. So I'm going to go and press G and Y to place it inside, and here I will go and add subdivision surface modifier, and I want to be sure that I will be able to add black color there, so I will switch to material preview, and here for material there I'm just going to use black material, and I will keep that one as it is. So that's it about this video. Stay tuned, because in the next video we are going to animate our character, and also we are going to attach eyes and mouth and tooth for the rig as well. So see you there. Everybody, and welcome to another video in this course. So as you can see, we are done with modeling eyes, and also we added tooth and also mouthpiece. So now I'm going to go and apply mirror modifier here for the eyes, and also I want to do the same for the pupils as well, and everything here should be just fine. We can go and just scale this tooth a little bit more like this. And now I will go and unhide our armature. So now we need to attach the eyes and also the rest of the meshes that we created later on to our rig, because now if you go in pose mode, once you select your armature and for example move this, you can see that everything is moving except eyes, pupils, and also mouth and tooth as well. So the way we can add and attach it is by selecting all of these with the Shift, and the last one is going to be the armature. And now we can go in pose mode, and here I'm going to select this bone here, the root bone of the hand, and we can press Ctrl and P, and I'm going to set parent to the bone. And now for example, if you go and rotate this, you can see that it's also moving along with the rest of the mesh as well. So now I will go and press 0 to enter in camera selection, and here I'm going to go and position it a little bit up like this. And now I will switch to animation workspace here on the top. So now here I'm going to start with animating our character. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to lower down number of the frames here. So let's go and make it to 25. Now we can continue with our character animation, but before that I want to jump back in object mode, and also I will select my camera here in the scene collection. And now in this camera properties in properties menu here, there is option called paste part out under viewport display, and I'm going to pull this all the way till 1. And here now I will not be able to see anything except what is camera seeing and what is going to be rendered out, so I will not be distracted by our Blender scene. And also there is compositing guides which we can turn up, and we will need to have these overlays turned on our scene here. So for example, we can turn on center, and now you will be able to see the center of your camera here. And also for example, you can turn on thirds option, which is always useful, so I'm going to leave those two as they are right now. And now I will go and select armature, and under object mode I will switch to pose mode. So I'm going to switch to pose mode, and right now I'm on my first keyframe here. I will press A, and here on actually we don't need to select anything here, but I'm going to create the first pose of that impatient hand movement. So here I will go and select all these 3 bones by holding Shift and left clicking them. And now I will go in right orthographic view, and with G and Z I'm going to move this up. And so here on our first frame we are going to create the first pose of our character. Now I'm going to press R to rotate, and now I will also bend those three as well, the second bones for our finger, and I will go and press R once again. Now I will switch and select those three bones on top, and with G and Z I'm going to move this just slightly in front like this. And now I can go and focus on this thumb as well. So here I'm going to go and rotate this one slightly, and here maybe we can go and rotate this one as well. And so this is going to be our first pose, and also make sure that your character is hitting the ground there. So here you can see that we can go a little bit lower like this. And also for the thumb I'm going to keep this one here like this. And now we can go and press A and I, A for selecting everything and I for inserting keyframe. And here we will be able to select to insert keyframe on location, rotation and scale for all our bones. So for example, if I go and select that head bone that I previously renamed, you can always rename the other bones, but it's not going to be necessary for this course. But just a simple reminder, it's going to be much easier later on when you have more complex and you get used to renaming all the stuff that you're creating. So as you can see, under head bones we have different keyframes. So we have for location, we have for rotation and also for scale, and also we have for other bones as well. So I'm going to go and create the second pose, which is a top pose for all our fingers. So I'm going to go and now turn on this option, which is auto keying. So now I will be able to keyframe to insert keyframes for each bone that I change. So for example, if I go and rotate this to the side, you can see that we have now keyframe for this bone as well. So now you can see that it's moving like this. So I'm going to go and remove that one. So I can press X and delete keyframe there. So I'm having auto keying turned on, and now let's go and create the first pose. So let's go, for example, I'm going to go here on the 13th frame, and here I will press G and Z to pull this up, and here I can go and rotate this one as well like this. And now let's see what's going on here. So you can see that it's lifting up, and also I want this thumb to be lifted as well. So I can press G and Z and rotate this one slightly like this. So let's go and play animation. So you can see it's lifting up, and for example we can duplicate this one here by pressing Shift and D. And now if you play this animation, you can see that it's coming back. I'm going to remove this back. I will remove the keyframe that I duplicate, because I will need to select A to select everything. And now with the Shift and D we can go and duplicate, and this time all fingers will come down like this. So let's go and pull it all the way till here, so maybe 24th frame. Let's keep it like this for now. And now we will need to create animation for each finger. So let's go and focus on our first finger, which is point finger. So I want this finger to be the highest that is going to be lifted up, and the earlier. So I'm going to go and select this, and I will press G to move this back here like this. So now if you press 1, let's see what's going on here. So you can see that this finger will be higher the earlier like this. Now I'm going to go and select this second or middle finger, and now this one can go a little bit lower. Or actually, let's go and focus on this first one. So this finger will stay the most in the air, and we can go and, for example, rotate this one slightly like this. So let's see how it's going to look like. And now it's looking a little bit better. So maybe we can go and rotate this one as well, just slightly like this on the 10th frame. And maybe we can go and even move this a little bit higher, so we can press G and Z to pull this up a little bit more. And now it's going good. So now we can go and focus on this middle finger. So this one will go next and will return earlier than the point fingers. So here I will go and I will go in right orthographic view, and here I will rotate this one and this one here. And let's go and see what's going on here. I'm going to go actually and select both of these, and with G and Z I'm going to go and I will do it manually. So here I'm going to move this keyframe there and also this one here to see. So you can see that now basically this finger will be later in the air, and I want this finger to come earlier than the point finger. So I'm going to go on the 22nd frame here, and now I will select this bone here and I'm going to press G and move it there, also this one here, and for the third bone as well. Let's go and return it there. Now I will press now 1 to go in front orthographic view, and let's test it out. So this one will now stay a little bit there, and it will come earlier than the previous one. So you can see it will touch the floor earlier than the point finger. So something like this is going to be just fine. I'm going to go and turn on back overlays, and now here for this point finger I'm going to go and move this keyframe here on the 26th frame, or actually I will keep it on the 25th frame. I will do for this second bone as well by pressing G and moving there. So let's go and see if everything is correct. So I'm going to play it slowly like this, and now it will hit the plane or the ground only here. So now let's go and focus on the pinky finger. So this finger will not go that much high. So I'm going to go and I will go on the 30th frame. I will rotate this one here, and here we can go and rotate this one and this one here. So like this, and this finger will touch the floor first of those three fingers there. So here I'm going to go on the 20th frame, and for each this finger I will go and move that keyframe by pressing G there, also this one here, and the last one is going to be this one here. So let's go in the front orthographic view, turn off overlays, and slowly see how it's going to look like. So like this is going to be just fine. Let's play this animation here, and we have that cool movement of the fingers. So maybe this point finger, pinky finger can go a little bit higher than right now. So we can go and rotate it on the 30th frame there. Don't forget that we are having auto keying turned on all the time. And now it's looking much better than before. So now it's nice, and now we can go and, for example, we can play with this bone here. So for example, once it's up, so it's going to be this frame here, or the 13th frame, which is the middle frame there, we can go and press R and, for example, rotate on the right orthographic view, and also slightly bend it there, just to add a little bit motion there. So something like this is going to be just fine. Maybe it's a little bit too much in the air, so I can go and lift it up a little bit there. And now I'm going to focus head bone as well, so I will go on the 13th frame, and here I will go and press R to rotate there, because I want this to rotate forward once it's in the air. So now it's looking much better, and we are done with animating our character. So the only issue that we are having is this mouthpiece here, because it's entering there. So I can go back out of edit mode, I can go in pose mode, and here I will go in edit mode, press A to select everything, and I can go and slightly pull this there in edit mode, and also we can go and do the same here for bone and also that plane that is inside of the mouth. We can go and select all of these. I'm going to turn on X-ray mode and I'm going to lift it up a little bit. So something like this. And you can see that this is entering inside, so I'm going to focus on this plane here. I will go and rotate it there. Let's see. Actually, I'm having keyframe there turned on. Auto keying, so I will turn off here. And here I'm going to go in edit mode. And let's go and lift this up. And now it will stay there all the time. I'm going to go and do the same here for our tooth. Lift it up, make sure that this is inside, so I'm going to go and add just simple red material to see if everything is okay there. And also I want to mention that, for example, if you want to create another animation with this character and have that animation at the same time with this animation, you can always go here under dope sheet and switch to action editor. And for example, here we can go and call this animation as our basic animation. Basic. And if you want to create a new one, you can press here to create a new one, and let's call this new animation. And for example, here we can go and select select our armature, go in pose mode, and for example here we can go and rotate this slightly. Press I to insert keyframe here, and for example if you switch back in basic, you can see that now we don't have keyframe there on this bone here. But if you go here in under new animation and play it, you can see that we have that bone moved to the side. So basically this is, I'm just showing this as an example how you can create a different animation with only one character and have it all and have a different animation in one single Blender file, instead of creating different files for different animation. With action editor you will have all your animations in one Blender, and you can modify and you can edit them as you go. So for example, if you want to have a character that is running and walking and hitting something at the same time, you will have that control with an action editor. So that's it about this video. Stay tuned, because in the next video we are going to add materials, add lighting, and prepare our animation for final render. So see you there, everybody, and welcome to our last video in this course. So as you can see, if I play this animation, you can see that we are done with modeling and animating our character. We got fine result here. And now in this video we are going to focus on materials, lights, and also final render settings as well. So let's go and switch to layout mode here, and here I would like just to select my default point light, and I will press X and delete, because for the lightning I would like to use HDRIs. And now you can go on HDRI and get your HDRIs. So if you go here on hdriheaven.com, you will have different environments, different images that you will be able to use for your scene. So you can get any of those. I got few of those. So for example, if you select any, you will be able to select and get for free different resolution as well. So let's go and switch back to Blender, and now I will switch workspace from layout to shading. And here by default is object, and we will need to change this to world. And now we have this background plugged in world output. And now we will need environment node. So with the Shift and A we can search for environment texture. I'm going to place it here. I will connect to background image, and I will press open. And as I already mentioned, I got mine here different kind of HDRIs, so I will try with this one. And also now I want to go under edit, preference, and make sure that I have my node wrangler add-on on. So I already got here, so make sure that you are also having this node wrangler add-on turned on. So you can select this texture here and press Ctrl and T to bring immediately mapping and texture coordinating as well. So now we can go and switch our render engine. I would like to get a better result, so I'm going to use cycles, and I will press 0. And now here I will go and turn on rendering view. So here you can see how it's going to look like our final render. And also if you want to change the rotation of the world around, you can go and just change here by rotating this Z direction here. So I'm going to keep mine as it is for now. So let's go and switch to material preview, and now we can go and select eyes, but first we will need to change back from world to object and turn on overlays. I'm going to hide my armature for now, and for the eyes I'm going to press new material here, and I want to go and just apply black material there. Now for the hands I'm going to go and select the hands here. We already got this basic white material, and now for the hands we can go and change to some human color, so something like this. And you can see that we also have our bone the same, on our bone we have the same material, so we will need to go in edit mode, press L to select linked object, and here under materials I can go and create a new material by pressing plus, new, and I will need just to press assign, and we already got the white bone here on top. So now let's go and switch to rendered view to see how it's going to look like. And I would like also to go and add subsurface color, so which means that it's going to be a little bit transparent, and also, for example, I'd like to use this red color for the subsurface color there. But this time I'm changing only the bone color, so I will go back. I made a mistake there. And here I will switch back to material of our hand here, and for the subsurface color we can use red here, and I'm going to add this a little bit, this subsurface on the node, so you can see that we already got human color there. It's already looking good. And for example we can go and switch here a little bit to make it a little bit lighter than it is, and I really got good results with this one. Maybe this one can go a little bit lower red, so something like this. Now let's go and see how everything is looking. I'm going to turn off overlays, and also for the eyes I'm going to select them, press new material, and here you can go and change the materials of the eyes, but I'm going to keep this one white. For tooth as well we can go and find here material, so this is material 004, and also you can go and add materials also for the background. So you can add, for example, something like this. Maybe you can go with the blue color. So I'm going to keep this one as it is for now. So I also want to animate my camera here, and here I will select my camera and I will switch to animation here. Now here we can see the preview for our camera. I'm going to switch to preview mode, and I'm having my camera selected. So basically we will need to insert keyframes on the camera. So I will press I to insert location, rotation and scale, and here with the Shift and D I will duplicate on the 26th frame because I want to make it loop. And for example here on the 30th frame we can go and press Shift and key above tab, and with that we can turn on fly navigation mode. So for example I'm going to zoom in a little bit and press I for location, rotation and scale, and now you can see that we are having this camera movement that is zooming in, but this is way too much, so I'm going to go and delete that keyframe here, and I want to insert another one. So I just want to have settle zoom animation on our camera. So I will zoom in slightly, I will press I to insert location, rotation and scale. Let's play this animation, and for example let's find out if we can add also rotation as well. So for example we can go and okay, so we are not going to add any rotation there. Maybe we can go and slightly move this on the Y to the side. Let's try and replace keyframe there. So you can see this is going a little bit on the side. I'm not going to use that, so I will remove keyframe there. And also I want to change interpolation mode, so I will select all of these keyframes on my camera, press T, and here we have different interpolation modes. So interpolations are basically the speed and the way how your animation is behaving from one keyframe to another. If you play on constant, for example, now you can see that it's only zooming here on the 30th, and it's not going to, you will not be able to see anything, any transition in between keyframes. So we can go and press T, change to linear, and now it will go and do it as a linear with the same speed. And also you can go and, for example, use bounce mode, so you can see what's going on here, or something like this, or back. But I'm going to use linear for this now. And now let's go and continue. So I will switch to rendered view here. Let's see how everything is looking. And I think I'm going to change now shading a little bit better than we have right now. So I will switch here to rendered view, switch from object to back to the world, and let's go and rotate this on the Z. So let's go and use 120 here, 121 is going to be just fine there. And I like here to have a light source that's coming from this side here. And now let's go and focus on the final render settings as well. So I will switch here on the layout mode, press 0 to enter in camera view. I will play this animation one more time real quickly just to see if everything is correct. Let's switch to rendered view. And also, for example, you can go now here under render properties, and there is option called color management. And now you will be able, for example, to change the look. So for example, you can turn on this look to be high contrast, or if you want to very high contrast, you can use as well. You can play with exposure and gamma, and for example, you can use curves. And here you will be able to control the color by using this curve, but I'm not going to use this method. I think this default is going to be just fine. Now here under output settings we will be able to change the resolution. I would like to use mine as it is already, so full HD, so 1920 by 180. And here you will be able to determine a frame rate, so 24 is going to be just fine, default one. And if you want to have a little bit smoother animation, you can go up to 60, but it's going to be just fine to use 24 frames per second. And you can see that our animation is starting from frame number 1 and it's ending until 25, so it's going to be just fine here. And now for the file format, I'm going to use AVJPEG, and quality I will increase to 100, but if you want immediately you can render it as MP4, but this time instead of AVJPEG you will need to use FMPEG video. And here under encoding you will be able to choose different video codec, and output quality you should always keep this one as a high quality. So as I already mentioned, I like AV format because it's getting good. I'm getting always good results with AV. And also here you will be able to select your file where it's going to be saved, call it animation, and I'm going to accept it. And now if you go and press render animation, your rendering is going to begin. Also, I'm going to go back once again under render settings, and here I will also enable motion blur as well, because it's always good to add motion blur and it's adding some good feeling to your animation as well. And also now you can go and preview the whole animation and check if everything is okay. And here you can see that we need to also change the material here on the top. So let's go and select our hand, and here I'm going to press L to hide my bone, to select bone, and press H to hide it. And now here I will go in face selection, and with C, with circle selection, I can go and select this top. And let's go under materials, create a new material with the plus, and this time we can go with the pink meat color like this, press a sign, and now with Alt and H you can unhide it. And now we got that meat look for our hand as well. Now I will press 0 to enter in camera view, press play to play the whole animation and to see if everything is correct. And by the way, you can always play with camera a little bit more. So for example, you can see that type is set to perspective, and you can always change to orthographic view if you want to get a little bit different result. And by the way, you cannot animate the zoom in effect with the orthographic view. You will need to use this orthographic scale. So instead of having those keyframes, you will need to insert keyframe here, and after that you will press right click, insert keyframe, and for example you can change it here, press right click and insert another keyframe on top of that. And let's see if everything is correct, so we can start rendering our animation. Let's return our camera from orthographic to perspective once again. And here also don't forget that you can always increase render samples, but for this kind of animation I think this 128 is going to be just fine. And also if you want, you can go always and render it as a AV if you want to see the quick result and to see if you have any mistake with your animation. So there is few things that you need to have on your mind when you are working with animation. You should always check if your auto keying is turned on. So if you have any problem, check if you have that auto keying. Check all the keyframes around, and also don't forget that you need also to optimize your render settings if you want to have a good results in the end. So right now I'm going to go and switch back to cycles under render animation, and now my rendering is going to begin. So that's it about this course. I hope you had fun, and I will see you in the next course. Bye.